Hi, my name is Jesse Peters, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of my e-portfolio for the MIT Practicum course. So this is my front page. This just has some information about myself and my goals for the future. So just real brief, my goals listed on the professional column. Talk about getting some certifications, working on a class with some of the other instructional designers that I am currently working with, and also about how I'd like to write an article that will be published in a professional magazine about working with subject matter experts, because I feel that my knowledge from being a teacher into the field of instructional design is very beneficial. Personal goals. I actually have the opportunity to take some free coursework through the university that I work for now, so I hope to get a certificate through them in computer programming, maybe also web design, and potentially cybersecurity. But beyond that, just staying healthy with my wife. We enjoy running, so running some races, as well as finally getting the opportunity to read more for myself. So in the future, I hope to continue being an instructional designer. Not ruling out the idea of being an educator again in terms of K-12, but maybe even further down the road being a lead instructional designer or working as an educational technology person at a university level. So let's go through the rest of the course. So I have my philosophy, just real brief overview. The three main parts that I emphasize in that are how technology can really enhance the idea of 21st century learning, about the importance of media literacy, and also the issue with the technology divide that exists in our schools and throughout different school districts. My resume is just a pretty standard resume, but it includes my work experience and some of the things that I've accomplished at different jobs that I have held. So this is kind of the brunt of my website. So in here, in the professional development plan, this plan actually focuses on my current role as an instructional designer at Grantham University. And the first thing that I learned about when I got there was how there are two main issues. There is a lack of use of web tools or technologies infused within classes for students to work with and to create from. And aligned with that, also a problem with assignment diversity. Basically, a lot of all online classes really rely on written assignments, essays to be the brunt of coursework. And so there's kind of a push for more of that, as well as a push for instructors to develop online recorded lectures. And so I developed a professional development plan to provide instruction to our full-time faculty as well as our subject matter experts when we work with them throughout the course development process to encourage them to utilize some of these different technologies and how to best incorporate them for students to create more authentic products. And that's also part of the plan, is to help them develop assessments and assignments that are performance-based and very authentic, because we want our courses to be more career-oriented and very applicable to their lives after college. Beyond that, the training videos that I included, one was recorded with some of the teachers I worked with before I left in one of our early morning sessions, actually 2 sessions, so you'll see kind of a mashup there. But I talked to them about Flipgrid and about a program called ZipGrade. I did teach them about Flipgrid before it was fully free. I got that email about 2 weeks ago, so keep that in mind as you watch that. The second one is with my students in a classroom setting, where I was walking them through setting up a Padlet through the iPad application to use as kind of a curation device for a project we were working on with the Cold War dealing with nuclear weapons. And the last video was actually with my wife, who is a special education teacher, about how she could use Edpuzzle to differentiate for her students and to make a self-paced learning environment with that Edpuzzle program. The presentations. The first presentation with Google Slides or Google presentation was an introduction for our subject matter experts in my current role as an instructional designer about how we use backwards design or understanding by design to develop our courses, and how we actually have them work in Blackboard, the online learning management system, to submit their deliverables to us throughout the process. The second one is actually a presentation that I could use in conjunction with my teaching about Flipgrid. It just kind of goes through the basics of setting one up and what it can do. And that was through Prezi. My last one, the one that I chose, was Piktochart, which provides two things. You can make infographics with it, and you can also do presentations on it as well. And so I made another presentation about how to set up and start using Screencast-O-Matic. The articles that I chose to summarize, one thing that's become very important to me is media and digital literacy. When I took the course Message Design, it was focused around that, and I became very fascinated with it. So I wanted to review an article by Renee Hobbs about, it's called Teaching in the Post-Truth World, and about how teachers need to be purposefully instructing students about how to interpret modern day medias. It's evolved over time, and how we need to make sure that we are teaching students about that, because it's becoming very easy to manipulate people. Another one I thought was pretty valuable is a critical analysis of the SAMR or SAMR model, which is kind of a major piece that a lot of teachers refer to, or tech people refer to, in terms of how technology should be integrated. And this one actually is very critical in how it's used, and some recommendations for how to improve upon it. And last one, with the assistive technology piece, I found one on writing, because I felt that a lot of teachers utilize writing in their classrooms, and some simple programs that can be used to help students with high incidence learning disabilities and behavioral disabilities to help them be more successful with writing, because they're being asked to do it in state assessments, and it is a very critical component to professional career life. And the extra resources, I used a couple of things that I'd already made with the videos. So there's one I did about how to create a well-designed screen format and layout for presentations. This one is an overview of FERPA, which I think is just always good for teachers and any professional dealing in the educational world. And then this one is about Edpuzzle. The articles, I found one about some tech tools that can be used for assessment. This article is about how ingrained the internet is to our daily lives and how much it's used by different groups, especially teenagers. This one is about that idea of how there's a divide in terms of socioeconomic status and the access to technology. And then this one from one of my favorite websites called The Cult of Pedagogy, about hyperdocs and how it can be very effective and efficient in your classroom to create hyperdocs that students do their learning through. And then finally, a few different professional development plan examples. One comes from the Google certification. It's not necessarily a plan, but it walks you through about how you can become Google certified. And then the other two are plans about technology integration. One specifically about Chromebook integration, which I feel is a very relevant thing, because a lot of schools are going to Chromebooks one-on-one with their students. The reflections. I'm making the video for this portion now, but I have my transference reflection here, where I was critical of some of the classes that we had to take as part of this program, and upon reflecting on that, kind of developed an argument for why some of those things would be important. Like, for example, educational research, and our big push on APA formatting for all of our written assignments, which I didn't see a lot of use in, and I still have some issues with, but I talk about the relevance of that towards the end. And my peer reviews. My peer reviews are done by a student in here, but also another teacher who gave me some feedback on my sites dealing with organization and things that I missed. So overall, this was a wonderful experience. I really actually gained a lot through these article summaries. I learned a lot through reading the material in them, and I think that it's a good way to share information with other people who might be interested by giving little summaries to other teachers and professionals in the educational technology world. So that's a brief little summary of my website. I look forward to presenting it live.